Hello and welcome. All right, today we are going to be talking about a topic that you should be thinking about as we end the year and as we move into the next year. And it is how to be a successful self-published author in terms of making more money as an author. Now, right from the gate, well, first off, share this with your author friends and future potential authors as well, who are really just tired of hearing that you can only sell 250 copies of your books in your lifetime, or that you have to be a starving artist as an author, because I do not subscribe to that at all. I believe, especially as Kingdom authors and authors in general, that you don't have to follow that path. That doesn't have to be your reality. And so today we'll be talking about 5 ways that you can make more money as a self-published author, and sharing some of the strategies that I'm using that are working to help me to be able to boost sales. So I haven't introduced myself. I'm Ashley, the owner of Chat Publishing, and I help authors get from the page to the people with efficient and effective marketing strategies so they can sell more books, reach more readers, make more money, and change more lives. So I'm an author like you. I get that it can be challenging, and I get that marketing your book can also feel hard and it can feel draining. And so I want to share with you some ways that I am doing that, and also invite you to join me for the upcoming Black Friday book marketing masterclasses that I'm having to help authors be able to sell more of their books. Because when you really think about it, it's something where you are able to, with the profits from your books, you're able to pay for everything else. You're able to pay for editing. You're able to cover cover designs. You're able to hire a PA or a VA. And so really focusing on profit makes everything else possible. And I really want to break away from the notion that we are just we as authors are going to be a people who are trying to do the bare minimum. So trying to scrounge to get, how can I get this done the cheapest? How can I get this done the fastest? Because typically when you're doing that, you're sacrificing quality, and you also are sometimes sacrificing sanity if you're trying to do things the quickest and the fastest. And so just to kind of reframe there. Now, let's get started. And let me know where you're watching from in the world. Hey, over on, hey, okay, checking comments. How are you doing over there on YouTube? And so we got the Design Pharmacy. And so if you're looking to get some brand design, definitely check her out as she is growing on her platform up there. But so let's get started. So one way that you can make more money as an author in 2025, and really still this year, you can do this too, is to have a plan. Now, you might be thinking, well, I mean, of course I have a plan. My plan is to publish my book and then get people to buy it. Now, I hate to break it to you, that is not a plan. That is concepts of a plan. That's not actual plan. So with that, what that means is having a strategic book marketing plan. And so if your book is not out yet, then you want to have what's called a book launch. And you might have heard this word before, maybe you haven't, but it's not a book release. Most authors, most self-published authors typically don't tell people about their book until it's out, which is mistake number one. And I have another YouTube video that I'll share in the comment or in the description of this to be able to help you decide when to start your marketing. But they typically don't start their marketing until their book is out. They don't want to tell people about their book, and then they still want book sales. And so I say they, even though I'm an author, because I am not somebody who does that. I start my process during the pre-order process. If you've been following me for any period of time, you understand that I love pre-orders. I think it's a genius idea, and that's actually what my next book is going to be about. And you can actually pre-order it. The link's in the description if you want to get access to that, as well as get a behind the scenes look at the process of how I set up my pre-orders. And so going back to our points, when you are creating a plan for your book, you want to have a strategic series of steps that you are doing in order to be able to increase sales. And this looks like letting people know over a period of time, depending upon your book launch timeline, letting people know over a period of time that, hey, I have something coming out. I just got my edits back from the editor. Help me pick the cover design, things of that sort, to bring people along on the journey. And I relate it to when you think about those, if you're an internet auntie, to maybe you have high school friends or people you've met randomly and you can't even remember how you've met them. And you see their kids grow up online and you think, dang, they're already graduating from high school. You've never met that kid before in your life. but you have watched them grow up in that process. And so that's because that person has shared bits and pieces of that child's journey with you. So with your book is your baby, and it's something that you want to share with your audience, so that way they are able to go along on the process with you, to be able to follow the growth of your book. And so having a book marketing plan and a way to execute that plan. And if you need help with that, I'm actually hosting the series of book marketing masterclasses, and one of those classes is about book launching, and so having your plan mapped out. And if you want to grab that, then you can click the link in the description to be able to get that, and use code BF2024 to be able to get a discount on that. Next, on the way to make more money as an author is to make sure you're serving your audience. And I hear often that authors don't want to feel salesy. They don't want to feel like they are bothering people by offering to, or giving people the idea to buy your book. And if you're not talking about your book, then nobody's talking about your book. I get that it can be something where it's this thing that's so close to your heart and you're so close to it. And it feels like, okay, I'm putting a piece of me out in the world, and you might be scared of judgment. You might be scared of how people will receive it. And that's totally fine. However, you really want to think about it like this. People are going to read your book, and they're already going to have that opportunity to experience you. The people that are going to be your raving fans, the ones who leave you positive reviews, who are chopping at the bit to get to your next book, who are willing to share your book without even asking, or without you even asking them to do it, those people are going to love what you create, and they're going to love what you produce. Just for reference, I am a big fan of Threads right now, because it's a poppin' platform. And so if you're not over there, definitely check it out, especially as an author and business owner, because it's very easy to find your audience there, because the algorithm is algorithmicking, making that up, for people who are business owners, and just in general, if you're not a business owner, yeah, but you're an author, it's a great way to find your people. And so one of the posts that I was looking at was somebody who was asking for book marketing services. And so they were asking for recommendations. And I said, well, I'll just throw my name in the hat, because, I mean, if they don't know about me, then this is an opportunity to teach them about me. And so I just, not overly selling, but just saying, hey, I share strategies. You can check out my YouTube here. Let me know if you have questions. And then somebody commented and said, oh, I was actually going to tag you. They were like, I was going to recommend you. I know I've never worked with you, but I like your stuff and you know what you're talking about. And I was like, this is the raving fan situation. Like, I don't know this person, they're an internet stranger, but they're willing to recommend me and speak my name in places that I've never been before, or people that I haven't known. And so you can do that with your book by having a strategic book launch, by really honing in on your audience and making it so that they understand who it is that they're talking to. Who it is that you're talking to, and you're talking to them. And so those people are going to be ones who, like, once again, I said, love what you're writing. They're excited about extra opportunities that you might provide, such as book clubs or different supplemental materials that you create surrounding your book. And so don't be afraid to show up as your full self. But also remember that the audience that you're developing is an audience of people that care for you and they like you. So it's not a situation where you really have to worry about those haters, because you're always going to have somebody who didn't like you. Just point blank period. Everybody has people who don't like them, and that's okay. You don't have to be concerned about that, because you have enough people that do like you and will like your books for you to be able to make a profit. There's a quote that I shared not too long ago on Threads as well, and I shared it on Facebook and a couple other platforms, that there are 8 billion people in the world, and you only need less than 1% of those folks to be able to buy your book. And even with that, that's enough to make your book sale goals and to make enough money to live sustainably. And so when you put it in that perspective, it's helpful, because you are kind of narrowing it down and understanding, I don't need all these other people to be for me when I just have my group of people. So the next strategy to sell more books is to invest in yourself. And so I have another YouTube video that I will share about this as well. And this doesn't automatically mean money. It can mean time, it can mean energy, and sometimes it does mean money. Sometimes you do need to pay for help. And I say this because, once again, in author spaces, author communities, it's often a theme of, okay, well, how can I do this the cheapest? Or I don't have enough money to pay for this, so how can I do this in this way? What can I do myself? What can I DIY? And there's nothing wrong with DIY to a degree. However, you really want to be mindful of the things that you're DIYing, because some things that you DIY actually end up costing more money if you would have just gotten it done by a professional in the first place. Or it's costing you time that you could have been spending to be able to make more money doing other things. So for example, when it comes to, for me, when it comes to designs, I've had to step away from Canva and not spend as much time and energy in there because that is such a time suck. And like Canva's cool. And I'm not saying you have to go and just pay a graphic designer. However, you have to be mindful of, is this a task that I could pay a virtual assistant or a PA to do? Is this something that I can use a template for and then make adjustments for? Is it something that do I actually need a graphic for this thing? Or is it that I just want a graphic because I think it looks cute and looks branded? There's other ways to brand yourself that are not just full-blown graphic templates. And so it's important to really think about how you're spending your time, because your time is not an asset you can get back. And then also consider your value of time versus money, because time's non-renewable, money is renewable. And so if you are doing things such as spending that time pitching yourself to get speaking opportunities, or spending that time fulfilling orders, if that's something, spending that time doing income generating activities as opposed to things that they just need to get done, but they don't necessarily need to get done by you, is key. As well, when it comes to spending your time researching, I understand that YouTube University is a wealth of information. It's a treasure trove of facts. However, there's a lot of bad information on YouTube University, and there's a lot of bad advice in publishing, especially self-publishing. And it's something where if you are trying to do all this by yourself and you're not working with an expert to be able to help you understand what is good information versus bad information and what is something that's going to move the needle for you, then it can really be something where you're wasting that time and energy that you could have been using, and potentially wasting money, to have to go back and fix something. And so, for example, I had an author who reached out to me. She was trying to get her book published on Ingram Spark and Amazon, and she came to me after she got her files done. And when I tell you that the person who did her files did them entirely incorrectly, and she had to get them redone to the point where it cost almost 3 times the amount that she paid for them in the first place. And had she just gone to that, had she found me earlier, or had she worked with one of my other sister publishing agencies that does children's books, because that was kind of the kind of book she had, which I don't publish children's books because of the file issues. And so anyway, long story short, had she found me, I could have been able to advise her and say, okay, well, actually, you should pick an illustrator on this platform. The illustrator that you chose is probably not a good fit for you. And it ended up costing her more money, and it took twice as long to get her book published, when at the end of the day, if she knew the right strategy at the beginning, her book could have been out before, she could have been getting speaking gigs before, she could have been getting royalties before. And so investing in yourself can look like working with a mentor like myself or someone else who's a good fit for you. If you're at this point of the video, I feel like I might be a good fit for you if you're still watching, whether you're on live or replay. And understanding that everything doesn't have to be done by you, and everything doesn't have to be all or nothing. That's another misconception that I see, is that, okay, well, I need to do every single thing for my publishing by myself. That's not really true. Versus I need to let somebody else do everything. That's also not really true. Even with my done for you publishing clients, they still have the say-so. They still have the ability to say yay or nay to things. They still are giving feedback and input, and I'm still coaching them through the process, or consulted them through the process. And it's something where you don't have to do all or nothing. Some of my books are partially where I predominantly did the self-publishing, but I also worked with someone else to be able to do the formatting or doing the cover design. And so really investing the time and energy in yourself and thinking, okay, what are the things that I am good at? What are my strong suits? And what can I offboard to someone else? And if you're thinking, okay, well, I don't really have the funds to offboard those things, I'm going to say have a pre-sale. It's something that I've done 4 times myself, and then have helped multiple authors do as well. And so if you're not sure of that process, then you can visit profitableselfpublishing.com, and you can get pre-order a copy of my upcoming book that's on the same topic. And I give a background access of how I'm organizing my current pre-order, as well as strategies that will help you out. So with that, if you're thinking, okay, I'm not trying to do pre-orders, but I do need some help with existing books, then I do encourage you to check out my Black Friday book marketing series. And so I'm going to share the titles with you, because I put up a poll earlier asking folks to vote on the best option of what they wanted to choose. And so the reviews, the feedback was overwhelmingly for 2 options, but the other 2 are ones that I know the authors need, and I think they might just not have seen the poll. So I'm actually gonna do all 4 of the options. And so if you didn't see the poll, or if you don't remember, I'm gonna read them out to you. And for this, you can grab 1 or all 4. So you can get the individual classes, or you get the bundle. And so the first class is talking about choosing the right book title. And actually, let me see, I can get a little fancy with the tech and actually share it here. Let me see if I can get that going. But it's about choosing the right book title. And so for that, it's so important to make sure that your book title speaks for you before you get in the room. And if you think about, I can't remember the quote, but that your, okay, never mind. That basically, brain freeze. So basically, your book title is something that can either guide people to you or repel people away from you. And it also is something that can help you to be able to get good reviews, because if people are able to understand, okay, this is the expectation for my title, but when I got that book and I read it, it didn't match the title at all, and it left me very confused, or it left me feeling as if this isn't what I expected. And so you can think about it like if you are, if you order a dish off of a menu, you might be thinking, okay, well, this is what I thought it was going to be like. And then when I get it, it didn't meet my expectations. And it kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And so that class is about choosing the right book title. And that is definitely key. Okay, let me see if I can get it going. Fingers crossed for the tech. Let me switch displays. All right, 3, 2, 1. Whoop. Okay, there. So if you're on Instagram, you won't be able to see this, but if you are on Facebook and other platforms, you will be able to see it. Actually, I want this to be a little bit bigger. Let me swap this out. Okay, so that's the first class. And then the second one is talking about fixing your Amazon. Now, whether or not your book is whether or not your book is new, whether or not your book is upcoming, having a fully optimized Amazon option for you is key. And so it's something where you want to make sure that your book is set up for, and sorry, I'm gonna take this off. I don't know, it's not working that way. You wanna make sure your book is set up for sales. I'll do a video review later, but of what it is. But you want to make sure your book is set up for sales, because it's something where you can get organic sales, meaning where you're not paying for traffic for people, you're not paying for ads. And so with that, that means that you are actually able to get sleeper sales, is what I like to call them. And so there's certain things that are within your Amazon listing that you want to make sure are done properly, certain wording, certain things to include, certain things not to include. 1, to not get kicked off Amazon, but also 2, to make sure that when people land on your Amazon listing, straight from the beginning down to where they're scrolling through the thumbnails, that your book stands out amongst your genre. And so that's the second class, Fix My Amazon, setting up your Amazon listing for sales success. And kind of related to like Pimp My Ride, if you remember that show back in the day, but for your Amazon listing. And that's something where once you learn the process, you can repeat that for all of your books. So whether this is your first book, your third, your 15th book, you can use that same process that we'll walk through and do together during that class. And then the third option is to build a buzz. And so talking about book launch basics. And this is going to help you to increase your book sales right from the start by taking your audience through a series of the series of book launching. And so not just putting up a post on social media saying, buy my book, but showing you the strategic steps that you need to take in order to be able to sell more books right from the start. And then the last class is called Cover Coins, understanding covers that convert to sales. And so within that class, I'll be talking about how to design your cover, but not from a graphic design standpoint, but from a aesthetic standpoint. What should my cover include? What kind of things should I put on it? What shouldn't I put on it? Where should things go? Things of that sort. And so that's a series of book marketing masterclasses. So if any of those interest you, you can click the link that is in the description of this video to check those out. Now, step 4 of making more money from your books as an author, getting support. So we've talked about this a little bit in terms of investing in yourself. And so support can look like hiring a mentor. It can look like using books as a form of mentorship. Often we think that you're only able to get certain things, like get to your next level by talking to someone or you think that, oh, I need to work with someone to help me. When in reality, you can actually use a book to help you get to the next level. And so it's something that's easily accessible. Even if you don't have the funds to purchase books, you can use the Kindle version. Sometimes books are available for free on Amazon in particular. If you have Kindle Unlimited, that's an option as well. And then some are just free, even regardless of that feature. The library is a great resource to have books. And so I know where I'm located, the library has tons of business books. And so you can get those available, even like Libby and Overdrive. So there's ways to work around that if funding is an issue for you. However, thinking about the ways in which you can get that support is important. And so focusing on things like books, focusing on one or two voices that are in the industry that you really gravitate towards and that you really want to listen to so that you're not getting conflicting information is key as well. And so find somebody that you like the learning style of and that you feel like resonates with you, and then lean into that person and be able to go through the journey and the process with them. So that way you can understand what it is exactly that you need to be doing as well until you get to the point of being able to invest financially. And so back on Threads this morning, you hear me reference that a lot because it's a platform I love. There was someone who I was responding to someone else's post, and then they came and said, oh my gosh, I found you, and I have been listening to your videos each morning while I eat my breakfast. And I'm implementing the strategies. And I'm just like, this is like so exciting. And so they subscribe to my YouTube channel and they're using the strategies. And so it's something where you can still get that mentorship. It's not going to be the exact same, of course, if you're working with me directly or working with me through the masterclass series or even through coaching, but it's something that can help you to be profitable even before you make a monetary investment. I always tell my author clients that you can either invest time, money, or energy. And if you're doing two of those, you probably are also doing the other one. The energy is probably going to come from both. And so it's something that you don't have to just automatically assume it's the money factor, but it's also like doing the work. Because before I was able to hire a mentor or to get into coaching programs, I did the work. I did the research. I tried the strategies. I did the posts, those kind of things, sent the emails, and analyzed the data. And so, yes, it's great to have these programs and have these things that are available, but if you're not doing the work and if you're not looking at the work and analyzing the work, then it's something where you are not going to see the fruits of your labor because you are not going to be able to see it come to fruition. So you have to make sure that you are actually doing the work to be able to get the results you want to see. And lastly, the fifth way to make more money in 2025 as an author is to think outside of book sales. Now, in the chat, drop a 1 if you sell something besides your book, if your book is not the only thing that you sell. So, oh, and I did mention earlier, if you have questions, add those to the chat too, and then I can answer them because there is a bit of a delay between you and me. So, if you sell something that's book related besides your book. Now, with this is so important because especially self-published authors, but really authors in general, they often are focused on, and I say they, I'm an author too, but I'm not part of this group that I'm talking about. They're often focused on book sales, and that used to be me. I used to be so focused on, let me check my Amazon KDP dashboard. Let me see how many sales I got today. Let me see how many page reads I got today, And like, that's fun and that's exciting. However, when you're only focused on book sales, then you are ignoring a whole other world of things you can be selling outside of your book that are related to your book. And this is something that I focus on with my authors because if you're only focused on book sales, on average, you're probably making anywhere from like $2, maybe $10, $15, upwards to $10, $15, depending upon the book. So like for my cookbook, because I did offset bulk printing, I'm making more than I would for my smaller books that are just black and white copies of books. And so if you're only focused on like that maybe $2 to $6, that's on average what most self-published authors make per book. If you're only focused on $2 to $6 per book and you are thinking, okay, I got one sale, the amount of sales that you have to get in order to recoup your costs, if that's the only thing you're focusing on, especially if it's in terms of the focus on Amazon KDP as a platform or Ingram Spark as a platform, then you could be making less than that. And so if that's your goal and that's your focus, yes, it's exciting to get to get those book sales, but consider what things you can include outside of that. Consider the things you can sell that are in addition to your book. Maybe access to a book club so that people can meet up with you to be able to discuss the different themes in your book if you're a fiction author. Maybe it's a challenge that people can do as an extension of your book. So for example, my Daniel Fast 21 day, my Daniel Fast 21 day food and faith journal. With this, when it was released, I did a pre-order where I included a 21 day challenge. The book is set up as 21 days of devotionals. And so I included a challenge as a part of a book bundle for people to be able to go on the journey with me, so that we had weekly meetups. So we talked about how they were progressing through the challenge, reference the book. You'll see like my little flags out here. And this is my beat up copy because this is the one I use when I'm working with folks and doing speaking engagements. So thinking about things you can include that are beyond your book, that are in addition to your book, is key. Because instead of just charging the $10, $15, $20, $25 for your book, and you're only making that $2 to $6 range, $2 to $10 range, now you're able to add on things that are digital products that can help you to be able to bundle together with your book to create a better experience for your reader. And so for that challenge at the time, the bundle, I want to say, was $47. So they got the book, they got the bundle, and then they also got access to cooking videos to go along with the book, because it's something where you're changing your eating habits. And so it was tailored to the type of audience that that book was for. So think about things you can include in addition to your book to be able to increase sales, because those are going to be things that help you pay for all of the other things that allow you to continue writing your books. So many times I hear, especially on Threads, I keep mentioning it, but so many times I hear from authors that I speak with or on platforms that they just want to write their books. And I definitely get that. And so if that's the case for you, then you either are faced with focusing on hiring someone to do your marketing for you. And I would love to work with you if you are a self-help author, nonfiction adult author, or children's book author. Then I'm open and available for next year, booking out for next year for 2025. But if you're thinking, okay, I don't have the funds for that, or I don't have the capacity to do done for you services, then you have to learn marketing, and you have to learn how to sell your books, and you have to get comfortable about talking about your books and letting people know that, hey, my book is out, it's available. It's something where people are, and sorry, I just realized I never clicked go live on Instagram. Okay. With this streaming software, you have to click live in 17 different places. And so because of all the permissions. And so anyway, when it comes to selling your book and increasing your book sales, you have to be comfortable selling. You have to be comfortable understanding that your book is something that helps other people get set free, helps them to be able to understand how to do something. If you are a fiction author, your book helps people escape. There are plenty of people right now that need like a Calgon take me away moment, and your book can provide that. And if you're a children's book author, you can think about you're fostering a love of literacy for kids. I have a background in elementary education, and I was a literacy teacher for over a decade. And it's something where even if I switched to different subjects, literacy was always there. And so, and if you're in the United States, you might understand or might not be aware, but the average reading level is about a 3rd to 6th grade reading level. And so if you're able to help kids foster a love of that early, then that's something that has lifetime effects for kids. And so don't ever think that, oh, my little book or my little book business, don't ever little your stuff, because the effects that your book has on your readers is something that reaches a generational type of situation. You are transcending beyond yourself. So even when you are not here anymore, your books will still be here. And so that's why it's so important for you to focus on marketing and selling your book, because if you write the books and nobody knows about the books, no one's going to buy the books, and no one's going to get the results from the books. And so I get that marketing's hard. I understand that. And that's why I'm offering this book bundle at such a great rate. And so use code BF2024 to get the Black Friday discount. The price will increase once it's off of sale on Tuesday. And it's something where, the price will increase on Friday. So if you want to get the early bird special, use that code BF2024 at the link that's in the description of this video. So that way you can get yours early. So it's $157 per video, and per class. And then the price will go up to $197 on Saturday. And then finally on Tuesday, it'll go up to $297, which will be the rate that it stays at, because the value that you're going to get from being able to fix your Amazon, being able to choose the right book title for each of your books that come in the future, from being able to Designing your cover in a way that people will pick it up and buy it, because people do judge books by their cover. And then being able to build a buzz with your book launches, that's priceless. Those are things that you're going to be able to do for each of your books that come out. And if you have books that are already out, you can use those same strategies to relaunch your book, because it doesn't have to be something where, and that's a big misconception. People assume that you can only do a book launch for a new book. You are more than welcome to do a relaunch of a book, tie it to a holiday, build that buzz, and then let people know. There's so many books that are out that end up being movies later, and there's a whole resurgence of income from that book because there's something else that's coming behind it to say, oh, let's pay attention to this now. You can make your own buzz. That's definitely an option. So just encouraging you for step 5 to think about things beyond your book, to be able to encourage readers to further their understanding of your book's topics or concepts, if it's like a self-help book or a business book, or to be able to dive deeper into the experience. Now, I'm going to review the strategies for you and answer any questions that you might have. And so the 5 ways to sell more books, or 5 ways to make more money as an author in 2025, which you can start before 2025, is to have a plan, to have a clear book launch plan and execute that plan. To serve your audience, think about what things that they would want and how to make the experience better for them. 3, to invest in yourself, and that can look like investing in time, money, or energy, and sometimes a mix of those 3. 4, getting support when needed through books or coaching support or training, such as the Black Friday book marketing masterclasses. And then 5, to think outside of book sales and decide what kind of things you can offer that are in addition and above and beyond the actual individual book. So I'm going to check the chat and make sure there aren't any questions. And then if there aren't, then I will skedaddle because I'm on borrowed time. Baby's napping. Shout out to hubby for getting him to go to sleep. And so I could record this with you. Once again, if you want to join me for the Black Friday Book Marketing Masterclass series, then I encourage you to sign up at the link that's in the description of this video. Use code BF2024 to be able to get the 50% off discount for it. And I do want to put a pin in that. I want to talk about that discount. So be able to get that discount. And the topics are choosing the right book title, how to pick your book title to increase sales and build brand recognition, fix my Amazon, like Pimp My Ride, but for your Amazon listing, to know what to include, what not to include, and how to adjust it. Building a book buzz, book launch basics, and then cover coins, understanding covers that convert to sales. So letting you know what to include on your cover, what not to include, and how that affects your sales. And so with that, I do want to say that with this is a new series of classes. I haven't ever taught these before in this way, and I wanted to offer them at the lowest price they'll be available, and then gradually increase the price to the price that it's going to be moving forward, instead of discounting something that I already had, because I want to honor the people who've paid full price for my products and services throughout this year and last year. And I just appreciate you all for investing in me and investing in yourself as well. And so that's why I'm doing a rolling price increase, because I want to reward action takers. I want to reward people who are committing to themselves and wanting to do the work. And so they just need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of help to be able to get that done. So, all right, let me check the chat and see if I have any questions. And I think that we are, let me check multiple chats. Okay, we're good to go. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments. And if you're watching replay, then write #replay. And please share this with someone who needs some support in selling more books, reaching more readers, making more money, and change more lives. Have a good one.